Meanwhile, the Pittas and the Vata just burning up the food all the time. Yeah. Hi, this is Zia and this is
Kamana.
And welcome to Holistic Nomads TV, where ancient wisdom and modern science can help you to have more clarity and energy in your life. So, today's topic, we are still going to talk about how to balance the dosha with diet. And this episode, we will be focusing on the third dosha, which is
Kapha Dosha.
So, as always, as the previous two episodes, we are going to first briefly talk about what is dosha.
So, a dosha is like a disease tendency. It's how things could go out of balance. The direct translation in Sanskrit is a fault or a defect, and it shows that although the dosha system can be used for many things, one of the highlights of the dosha system was tracking the causes, tracking where things could go wrong and create an imbalance, tracking the problem. So they can be in many different areas of life. We can see them in our body type, our genetics, what might be a person's disease tendency there. We could see them in the times of day. We could see them in the seasons and the climate. We could see them in substances and food. And that's what we'll talk about today, substances
If you would like to learn more deeper on the subject of dosha, go check out our previous video. There is one 15 minutes videos of Kimana specifically talking about dosha. Now we are going to focus on the next focus, the three dosha. There is three dosha, and that are
the three doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and it's a language system, a scientific language system that's designed to teach us about the connections of life, to teach us where a weather pattern could influence certain systems and parts of our body. Whether a weather pattern would go, oh, these types of foods might not be the most ideal, or an exercise program, or any category of life. All of life fits into one of these three doshas, and we can see the connections of life through this language system.
And then, so in this episode, we are focusing on the Kapha.
Kapha dosha.
What is
third
Kapha?
of the doshas. Yeah. So, Kapha dosha is the most physical and tangible out of all of the doshas.
That's a new word, physicable.
Physicable. Physical and tangible. It's elements that it's associated with are water and earth. So these are the form doshas, the form elements. So they're more physical, they're damp, they're wet, they're heavy, they're associated with congestion and blockage and those sorts of conditions.
Can you share with us the example of Kapha imbalances? Because when people think about Kapha balancing diet, and then they're like, oh, I'm not dominant Kapha, what do I need to know about this? But really, all of us is the tridoshic being. We have Vata, Pitta, Kapha. The difference is only, what's dominant. So what's the example of Kapha imbalance that even for Vata dominant people like me, I might still have experienced that too?
Waking up from sleeping.
Waking up from sleeping?
Yeah, we all wake up from sleeping, and at that moment, we're all a little bit Kapha. We're all a little bit slower in our metabolism. There'll all be little blockages throughout our body. Everyone needs to wake up and get their metabolism moving a little bit in the morning. Depending on what your body type is and the weather and many other things, you might need to move more or less than someone else. But everyone, first thing in the morning, needs to get their metabolism moving, needs to stimulate in their body, which is a Kapha time for all of us. Another example could be mucus. Whenever we've got a lot of damp or mucusy wet conditions that are going on, then that's a Kapha imbalance that anyone could experience.
I can share from personal experience. I'm dominant Vata, the secondary is Pitta, Kapha is the least. And yet there's one point from Kumana where I drink dairy milk 2 glasses a day, because that's what we're told to do. And then, like you said, every morning I just feel so lethargic, that's the word. And then that lethargicness is not actually stopped after I woke up. It's the whole day. That's what I felt at that time. I thought, well, this is normal. This is what everyone experiences. And then, but normal doesn't mean it has to be like that. And then, talking about mucus, each morning each morning, it's just my nose just so blocked with mucus. Like I don't know where's that come from. It's just so much mucus there.
Came from the milk, the Kapha milk.
Which is why we'll explain more, talk more about why dairy, because dairy is part of this Kapha dominant food, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, in the previous 2 videos, you mentioned about the importance of qualities when you try to understand about the dosha. Can you explain that a little bit before we go through the Kapha qualities?
The most important way to learn Ayurveda is through the qualities. The qualities are like the bridging language between the elements, the doshas, seasons, the tastes. And so this class we're really going to keep it simple, and we're just going to stick to the qualities of each dosha. And through that you'll be able to recognize when is the dosha dominant, whether it's exercise, in the body, or other things. It's through these qualities that you'll know it's dominant.
And then we have 7 example here of Kapha dominant qualities. And we will go through to each one of these qualities and then relate it directly with food substances. So the first one you are writing here on my little note, the first one is oily. Can you say a little bit more of that?
So oily is something like oils, It's lubricating, it gives moisture towards the body. It's generally a little bit heavier to digest, and it allows us a longer period of time. It lubricates the joints. Foods that are high in this oily are things like nuts. Nuts have lots of oily property to them. Mayonnaise is also in this oily, thick sort of property. And sardines.
Sardines, because they have so much salmon too.
Salmon too. They all have a lot of the oily properties. So yes, we can say oils, aren't they good? Sardines, they're omega-3s. Yes, to some degree they are good for everyone. Like all the qualities, we all need them. Yet Kapha will need them the least.
Because they already have so much oil inside them compared to the other
And they don't tend to burn up their oil so much and dry the body out. Their body's functions don't use as much oil as some of the other doshas do. So the balancing taste, the opposite quality is dry. So we've got something like cabbage. Cabbage is a diuretic, it pulls fluid out of the body. When you bite it, it goes crunch. It's a sign that something might be drying when it crunch when you bite it. Krupuk, exactly.
But actually, sometimes it's also oily.
Yeah, just because it's got oil in it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always oily and lubricating.
Okay, so in this case,
so deep fry was an example we went through last time. It was slightly oily. Yet deep fried things dry out a certain part of the body. Something can have multiple of both qualities in it. It's why nutrition is a bit more of a challenging subject to look at. The examples that I'm sticking to are a little bit more easier to learn with than that. The next one that's drying is chickpeas. So dry things sometimes cause gas as well. And most legumes are dry in their property. So chickpeas, you need to soak them with so much moisture. And if you just eat them by themselves, you can feel that it's drying to your mouth. You need a really saucy or oily or butter or something to make it more palatable. And coffee. Coffee is drying. Strong diuretic that pulls fluids out of the system.
Is that then affecting the nerve system when it comes to dry? Because I have a friend, and my personal experience, that I don't drink coffee because of this effect that my heart just beating so much.
Its effect on the nervous system will be because of its sharp
Not because
property,
of the dryness.
Not necessarily because of its dryness. It will still affect the nervous system over time because the nervous system likes to be moist. But what you're talking about is a stimulating property that's happening quick to the nervous system, whereas dry will likely happen over a period of time. Dry skin, it could eventually disturb the nervous system and lead towards multiple sclerosis and other more dry of the myelin sheath, the oily layer around the nervous system.
So before we go to the next qualities, I will say this is Kapha quality is exact opposite of the Vata one. What is
there's no diametrically opposed opposite dosha.
Because
doshas are different, they're a triad. They each have some properties that are different to each other. Vata is cold, Kapha is
also
cold.
So this is very important because many beginners and even intermediate people learning Ayurveda, they often think, oh, I'm dominant Vata. That means I'm dry, I'm light, I need to dominate in Kapha food because it's opposite and they eat meat and lots of oil and then they just get a belly fat.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So next quality is cold.
Cold. Yeah. So cold, when we're not just talking temperature cold, we're talking the nature of a food itself. So is it cooling the chemicals or the properties inside it when they get digested? So coconut water is cooling to the system internally. It's not just if it was from the fridge, the actual qualities of coconut water are cooling.
That's why it's grown up naturally in the tropics.
That's right. In a hot environment, you don't get coconut so easily. In a Kapha type climate, let's say an English, damp winter sort of environment, the coconuts are not available, although they are now. Milk is also cooling. Its properties tend to cool the system down. And grapes are cooling. All three of these will tend to slow the metabolism. The cold taste slows down the metabolism, slows down the digestive system. Not an ideal thing for Kapha because they need to stimulate the digestive system.
So quick thing about coconut, because nowadays everyone is raving about coconut. This is the best, oil to use, superfood and stuff like that. And then mostly it's like, in the northern hemisphere or like non-tropics where these thoughts come in, because for us Indonesian it's like, it's coconut. We've been using it for years. So now the question is, because that place is cold and it's like Kapha, especially like say in the winter, what will be the worst case scenario if, let's say, dominant Kapha, using it in winter, like using coconut during winter? What would be the
Just
worst
like coconut oil can solidify at room temperature, inside their body it tends to slow the metabolism a little bit, and it's a little bit more easier to congest. Now, coconut's not a real extreme example. It's just that they should rotate through some other oils. I think it would be fine to use coconut occasionally in a cold, wet winter. It's not the most ideal food, but it has many other properties that could make it still beneficial, far and above deep fry or some other shitty oils or hydrogenated vegetable oils. It would still be more beneficial.
Cool.
We could use olive oil.
Yes, which is what's already locally available there and cheaper.
And thinner and liquid at that cold temperature.
Cool. So the opposite quality of cold
is hot, something that's heating. And Kapha really needs warming food the most. They need to stimulate their metabolism and keep things going the most. So ginger being one of the best examples of that. Because it's quite trodoshic, it's not going to aggravate the other doshas as much, so they can have it almost every day. It's a hot food that's not super hot and imbalanced in its properties. Black pepper, also great. It has a drying property, the opposite of oily, we went through, and it's heating. And cumin seeds.
my favorite, I love it.
Yeah.
So cold, can you also put raw food underneath cold qualities?
You could. It depends more on the nature of the food itself than it is about the temperature of the food. So raw food just means it hasn't been cooked. That's one thing to add up. But the nature of the food itself is more important than the temperature.
Just like when we talk about the Pitta cold smoothies, is really what's inside.
What's the qualities? If you eat raw ginger,
it's
still warming. So it depends on the nature of the foods themselves. If you eat raw nuts, they're still warming.
Cool. Next quality is heavy.
Heavy. So Kapha naturally builds up tissue and has one of the slower digestive systems, and the heavy quality is used to build tissue and to feel satiety, satisfaction with your hunger for a longer period of time. So some heavy foods, potatoes, meats and grains all have more of this heavy property to them. Kapha generally needs to limit those the most. It's many people when we're going on like weight loss type diets, they're cutting out carbohydrates and grains and these types of foods.
Is that why like many of my Kapha friends, like our photographer here, she said every time she eats rice, especially white rice that is so glutinous, you know what I mean? She just feels sedated.
Absolutely, because the digestive system is not stimulated enough to deal with some of those heavier type foods.
Yeah.
And their ability to store a larger amount of energy out of a small amount of food and not use it up so much is more efficient.
Well, I think with them, they can save money,
That's
basically.
right. Yeah, less food, the more bang for your buck. Right? Meanwhile, the Pittas and the Vatas just burning up the food all the time. Yeah. Poor resource management.
Okay, so
the opposite of
heavy
is light, quick to digest, it reduces the body tissues. Leafy greens, quick to digest, you'll need to eat them again quickly. Cumin seeds are going to come under that again. They're light, so they can be quick to digest. They lighten up a meal. They also now overlap with some of the last things. They're warming and they're light. Chili too.
I was about to say
warming, light and drying. It's now overlapping with all of the last three qualities.
Yeah.
So out of all the doshas, chili is the one that could be a medicine for. Again, it's very potent in one direction though. It's not close to the neutral ground, so it's a medicine, not a daily food.
Yeah. Next quality is sluggish.
Sluggish, also translated as soft or dull. It's the opposite of sharp. And it's where a food or a substance will have a very slow reaction in the body. It doesn't penetrate deep in and have a fast reaction like chili is sharp. It has a slower reaction. Milk is sluggish. It slows down the metabolism. It has a slow reaction inside the system. Avocado is sluggish. And white flours are also sluggish.
Yeah. Is that why every time I eat noodles, I just feel sluggish?
That could be part of it, noodles, white flour, making you more sluggish there.
So the sluggish is more like, is it more like the effect that we will get from consuming that? That it will be more soft and slow and sluggish? What's that mean?
Yes, the qualities are based on effect and experience. How we experience the subject, how we taste it, how we touch it, all of those things will give us the qualities. So it's why I gave a few translations. Dull, so the opposite of sharp, like when there's not lots of sharp points on a cow.
They're round.
So they're quite round, in its things. It's not as sharp. Its teeth aren't sharp. And then the milk that comes out of it, there's no sharpness to it. It's dull and soft. And then the experience inside our body too. Does that make sense? So whereas like a chili on the other side, it has a sharp point to it that comes out. You can touch it and rub it on your body and it penetrates in. You really feel it starting to move through. And then the effect is quick inside the system as well. Whereas you drink milk and it's not like, oh my God, bigger all of a sudden. But if you drink milk and you drink milk and you drink milk, then slowly it has a sluggish, slow effect to increase the body's mass.
It's like you have a knife that is super sharp, you will get the effect straight away, while it's a dull knife, you might get effect after
slower
a while.
effect, exactly. So it's our complete experience of them. That's the thing that I love about Ayurveda, is that it's an experiential science. We don't need a laboratory to be able to find out what's the qualities of a substance or an exercise or how does it work. We just need our 5 sense organs. And it's through our experience we can define what is the quality of this. We still need to go with sharp, the opposite.
Oh, the opposite one.
Sluggish, soft. We've got garlic, chili and alcohol. Sharp, penetrating substances that have very quick effect.
Very quick effect. Next one, smooth, baby skin.
We have baby skin that's smooth. Again, we don't want to be eating baby skin. So we have mango. It's smooth on the outside. When you cut it on the inside, it also has a smooth property to it as well. We have pumpkin. It's smooth on the outside. When you cut it, it's smooth on the inside. Milk, is smooth and soft in its nature too.
Durian.
durian, spiky on the outside.
Oh, the meat.
On the inside, it has a smooth
But
property
because
to it.
it's also sharp outside, then it has the
Exactly.
sharp quality.
It has the sharp quality too, and you could smell it. You could rub durian on the skin, and you'd still feel an effect that would be going because of these sharp, penetrating properties that are part of it.
And the opposite quality of smooth?
Is rough. I think that's rough to the touch, like a rock is rough. Or an apple. It seems like an apple's smooth on the outside, and it is. But when you cut it on the inside, you feel your finger against it, and it's not smooth like a mango. It's rough. If you bite it, it's rough against the surface of your mouth. Beans are also rough. When you bite them, you can feel this roughness in the way in which they move through the system. Cabbage and cauliflower are rough. So those rough foods tend to scrape at things and pull out excess as they scrape through, and they dry things as they scrape, generally balancing to kapha to pull out that excess.
Yeah. So it's detoxifying food. Would you say that? Like rough? Because you mentioned about cleansing and...
Rough is definitely on the more detoxifying, what we call langhana or brimhana, reducing or building. So rough is a reducing quality, while smooth is a building quality.
Okay. Next quality is sticky.
Sticky.
Like sticky date pudding.
Sticky date pudding is definitely sticky. So to define the difference between sticky and oily is that when you put the two things together, will it try to stick them there? So oily won't necessarily stick them together. It may just lubricate and still slide. But sticky thing, it'll try to stop it from moving.
Glue, like gluish.
Glue, exactly, glue.
Like gluten.
Very sticky, so gluten can be sticky. It's why as it moves through the digestive tract, it sticks to the digestive lining, and sometimes, for some people, it tends to rip at the digestive lining, depending on your digestive strength and if you've had too much of this sticky quality within your food and your digestive system. So some sticky foods, chia seeds are sticky, they're not just oily. If you stick them against a piece of wood or something, it will rip the varnish off and the coating off the top. They're so sticky that's there. Oats and oatmeal are sticky. Condensed milk is sticky.
Because of the sugar?
You let it dry there. Most sugars are sticky too. It's like it's lubricating for a bit, but once it says, and now it's stuck, and it will be very sticky what's there. So the opposite of something that's sticky is something that's cleaning.
I thought you were about to say the opposite of non-sticky is ceramic pan.
Non-stick pan. Something that's cleaning, that if you didn't have a non-stick pan, you could use that substance and it would clean the pan.
Like water?
Like water could be, but even more, if we go back, we would use lemon juice to clean.
That's right.
It was a regular thing. It's not sticky. Its quality is like clear or to clean away. So lemons, alcohol, inside the body, rosemary, eucalyptus. These things can be used to clean away something, and inside the body, they're very clean. So yes, the opposite of sticky is cleaning more than the opposite of smooth. And it's so detoxifying that it aggravates Vata a lot. This clear and cleaning property can aggravate Vata.
I have a personal question. You haven't mentioned about this favorite veggies of ours. Lady fingers. That was a suspense.
Okay,
Okra. Is it sticky or is it oily? Because it's like slimy, like that.
I'm pretty sure it's sticky, It has a sticky quality. It's best for Vata and Pitta, I remember that. So that would mean that it would have more of the sticky. They can both be okay with the sticky. It's just Kapha that doesn't deal so well with it.
Right, so
it's quite a tridoshic food.
Okay. Because at the same time, on the outside is rough, but then it's...
and that's why it's quite tridoshic, because it has an array of different properties. It's sharp to the point, yet on the inside, it's soft and sticky. It's cooling, Yet it has some seeds in it that are slightly warming.
Yeah.
It has many of these counterbalancing properties within inside.
That's why you didn't put it, because the example that you put here is like
I'm trying to show a bit more of an extreme example. It'd be much easier to learn with these extreme examples.
Next one, which is the last quality, and that is stable.
Stable. So stable is the opposite of liquid. So stable can sometimes be translated as solid as well. Yet I prefer the translation of stable because sometimes it's semi-solids that are also kapha.
Stable.
They're not necessarily solid.
Yeah.
They may be semi-solid. And so stable foods, whole grains are stable.
Yeah.
Butter is more stable than milk.
Yeah.
So, lard.
What is lard?
Lard is the fat from animals. It's so stable that it all bumps together in a big block. They
Like
can
ghee?
sell it in
Ghee is
blocks. Well, ghee is the fat from the milk of an animal. It's nowhere near as solid as lard is.
Yeah.
In a cold climate, you'd cut chunks of lard off.
Wow.
From how solid the fat is.
Okay.
So these sorts of solid fats are the ones that could destabilize kapha much easier.
Because they already have so much of that
They
quality.
have enough of the stable quality. On the opposite side, so we've got watery grain stews. So we could still use whole grains for kapha, but we would boil them with a large amount of water. So they're only eating a little bit of it, and now it's liquid. The opposite of solid is liquid. We made the grains into more of a liquidy type stew that was more balanced for them. Instead of butter, we could have water. And then if we wanted to make it even more balancing, then we could add ginger, a little bit of a warming property to the water, and water tea or something like that. Instead of lard, we could have olive oil.
Yeah.
Something that's lighter and more fluid and is going to flow through all the circulation without tending to block as much.
Yeah. So let me put it into summary, into several foods that is, good to dominate for kapha, and things that also ideal to avoid. So somehow I come up to my mind about first food, warm lemon ginger water.
Yeah, that would be a great one.
Because it has the quality of detoxifying.
Yeah.
It's
cleaning. Yeah.
It's warming.
It's warming through the ginger.
And then what else?
Yeah.
Is that it?
It's not moist. Yeah. It's
not
not necessarily that it's dry or the other things. It's just that it's not those aggravating qualities.
And then, so for kapha, avoid cheesecake.
Avoid the cheesecake. Yeah.
Avoid the cheesecake. Avoid bread.
Yeah, bread and flour products will tend to aggravate kapha. There's a few grains that can work all right for them.
Like buckwheat.
Buckwheat's okay. Millet is one of the best grains.
Yeah. And then also avoid, what else to avoid? This one, meats. They're the one that need
the least amount of meat. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add that, as summary, the food that the kapha absolutely need to avoid as much as they can?
I would say dairy products. Dairy products are something that they tend to not digest so well. They can get away with a little bit of butter or other things, but if they have quite a bit of dairy, it will tend to congest and dampen the system.
And then to increase
ginger.
Yeah,
warming spices and herbs at most of the meals would be one of the key things for balancing kapha with diet.
And one last thing, food that is not really a food, fasting.
Yeah, kapha would benefit from fasting. All of the doshas, they would benefit the most. That being said, all doshas can benefit from fasting. It just needs to be a modified fast for the other doshas, which might be a liquid soupy stew rather than a no-food fast. And kaphas are the ones that could go many days without food. At minimum, they could skip dinner a few nights a week, and that'd be really healthy. If they're a really dominant kapha body type, then they could skip dinner every day, and that could still be healthy. For those who would like to help others heal holistically, or even just to take more control of their own self-care, check out the programs on ThaiVedicYoga.com. I've brought together some of the world's best health experts, teaching people what I consider to be the 6 most important branches of holistic healing.
Now, theory without practice is wasteful. That's why we will encourage you to leave a comment below and share one learning insight from this video. Because by sharing it with others, you will retain the information so much more. Also, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe so you will be the first to hear our future videos. And for more resources on health and healing, check out our website holisticnomads.com. There you can find resources and articles including quizzes on Ayurveda as well as our future events and courses. Thank you so much for watching. We hope it's been beneficial for you. Talk to you next week. Bye!